We begin tonight with breaking news in Scottsdale, where crews are currently searching for a missing teen.
Scottsdale Fire says they believe 14-year-old Roman Reed is lost somewhere in the Lost Dog Trail system in the McDowell Mountains. Sky 12 flying over the scene where there's a large presence of first responders right now. Here's a picture of the young man. The teen's family says he went missing from his home near 128th Street in Cactus at about 12:30 today, the heat of the day, and then walked into that trail system. Roman was last seen wearing a black tank top, black gym shorts, and tan hiking boots. If you have any information right now, give Scottsdale Police a call.
We are also following some breaking news out in Mesa, where there's an active investigation into a shooting involving police officers. It happened in the area of 72nd Place and Broadway. Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. We're told that no officers were hurt and that multiple suspects tonight are in custody. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is live at that scene in Mesa. And Gabby, what's the latest from police?
Well, Mark Ribe, we spoke with police in the last 20 minutes, and they say this all started with officers trying to stop two teens in a stolen car. Now, those teens pulled into this neighborhood where we are now, and you can see there's still an active police presence as they continue to investigate. Now, those teens are turned into that cul-de-sac there where they're standing, trapping themselves, and that's when the shooting happened. Around 4:45 this evening, the Real-Time Crime Center detected a stolen car near Power and Main. Two officers attempted to pull the car over, but the driver didn't stop. The car eventually turned into a small neighborhood near Power and Broadway. Officers deployed a grappler, which is a mechanism used to stop a car safely, but it was not successful. The driver then sideswiped a police car, and that's when officers shot at the driver and passenger. They were both identified as 17-year-old boys, rather. One of the teens was injured in the hand, but police say it's unclear if that was from the crash or the shooting. This is a quiet 55-plus community. We've been talking to people who live here, and they say crime isn't something that happens, so they were shocked to hear gunshots and see such a large police presence this evening.
I just heard 4 gunshots. And I was expecting somebody to come right then, so it freaked me out. So I kind of ran outside, and then all the unmarked trucks, like 6 of them, just went past my house right here.
No officers were injured in the crash or the shooting. The injured teen was taken to the hospital and the other was taken into custody. Both of them are expected to face criminal charges, but it's unclear what those will be yet. And the Tempe Police Department will be taking this investigation over. We'll continue to follow and share updates with you as we get them. We're live in Mesa tonight. Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
All right, Gabby, thank you for that. New developments tonight in the murder of a beloved pastor in the small community of New River. Now, nearly 2 months after his tragic death, the sheriff's office revealed who they say is responsible. Deputies claim the suspect traveled from out of state to carry out a killing spree, and the motive behind this, religion. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is joining us live in New River at the church where Pastor Bill Shaneman preached. And Chase, you spoke with the victim's son and investigators about this latest development.
Creepy, that's right. The suspect in this case is 51-year-old Adam Schief. We learned he has a long and violent criminal history. The sheriff's office telling us one of the biggest breaks in this case was a parishioner told them they saw that suspect near the church and said he was acting suspicious.
This case is probably one of the most bizarre cases I have ever seen in my 40 years with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office.
That's how Sheriff Jerry Sheridan started his press conference to update the community on the murder of 76-year-old Pastor Bill Shaneman.
By bizarre, I mean the way the crime occurred and what happened after the crime.
Deputies say in April, this man, Adam Schief, who lived in another state, decided to quit his job and come to Arizona with the plan to commit multiple murders.
The information we have has indicated that the motive was religious in nature, and that there were a number of future victims planned, some of those in Arizona.
In Schief's mugshot, he has the name of God in Hebrew tattooed on his neck. Deputies say residents in New River saw him around the church where Shaneman was the pastor. Schief reportedly committed multiple crimes, including burglary, stealing a car, and then ultimately murdering Shaineman in his own home.
Adam Schief had a plan.
From there, he allegedly drove that stolen car to Sedona. Police there reporting the day after Shaineman's murder, Schief committed burglary and escaped from police, leaving the stolen car. On April 30th, police say he was seen burglarizing this Sedona home, with police after him once again. They say he ran into Coconino National Forest. When he made it back into a residential neighborhood, law enforcement was there and finally arrested him.
Because of their involvement, probably saved some lives in apprehending this individual as quickly as they did.
His arrest bringing some relief to Shaineman's family. We spoke with his son Randy outside the church where his father spent more than 3 decades as the pastor.
Feeling that the person's in custody, that's a step towards justice for my dad's murder. But, even more so than that is that this person can't do this to somebody else.
Randy says the sheriff's office called him right before they made Thursday's announcement. While he still has several unanswered questions, he and his family are just trying to move forward.
This person's already taken so much from us that we don't want to let him take anything else, and so we're trying to not let that anger and that hate fill us. We're trying to stay focused on all the positives and keep moving forward and honor my dad.
Now, there were several questions I asked investigators today during that press conference, but was told they cannot comment at this time, but said they will hold another press conference at a later date with more answers to those questions. As for that suspect, charges are still pending against him. He's currently behind bars in Coconino County, awaiting extradition here to Phoenix. We're live in New River tonight. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase, thanks. We're following breaking news out of the Middle East tonight as Israel launches attacks against Iran's capital of Tehran. And this is happening early Friday morning in Iran. Iranian state media has reported explosions across the city. In a statement, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Israel took unilateral action against Iran and that it's believed the strikes were necessary for its self-defense. Israeli military officials say some of the targets were Iran's nuclear sites. NBC's Richard Engel reports.
Israel has carried out a large-scale surprise attack against Iran's nuclear facilities, but also targeted top military leaders in the country. This was described by Israel as a preemptive strike, and according to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, it involved dozens of Israeli fighter jets attacking dozens of locations inside Iran, including nuclear sites. Sources in Iran tell us that in addition to the nuclear bases, which are spread across the country, some of them burrowed deep into mountains to protect them, that top Iranian military officials were killed. Iran says that the leader of the Revolutionary Guard was killed. Iran is very likely going to respond militarily. Israel certainly expects that it will. Israel has imposed a limited state of emergency, telling people to follow state orders, to stay inside as it braces for a potential immediate missile or a drone strike from Iran or one of its allies in the region. But in the past, Iran has waited to respond to Israeli strikes on its diplomatic facilities or on Iran directly. That has happened twice recently, where Iran responded firing ballistic missiles at Israel. And in both occasions, the United States came to Israel's assistance to defend the country. And it is very likely that if Iran does decide to respond militarily against Israel, which Israel anticipates, that the United States will be drawn into Israel's defense once again.
And that was NBC's Richard Engel reporting. In national news, a federal appeals court just paused a ruling that would have blocked President Trump's deployment of California's National Guard. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said that it was putting that earlier ruling on hold until a new hearing on Tuesday. Now, all of this stems from President Trump's decision to federalize thousands of members of California's National Guard this week to respond to immigration protests in Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, there's fear tonight amongst immigrant groups here in the Valley that ICE agents are conducting workplace raids targeting businesses where Hispanic workers and consumers live. Groups like Puente, Arizona have taken to social media, posting these flyers alleging that ICE agents have been seen at locations like 7th Street and Cave Creek Road. ICE says they're unable to confirm what they call routine daily operations. They also say they're targeting people who have an order of removal, meaning that they've been deported in the past and then re-entered illegally again. Republican Senator Jake Hoffman says this kind of response is exactly what the American people voted for.
If you came across the border illegally, you committed a crime, and there's a penalty for that. And right now, the American people voted for mass deportations. That's exactly what Tom Homan and the president are delivering.
They racially profile everybody. So warning the community that those people are there, that this is happening, is really important because people are going to defend themselves.
Multiple anti-ICE protests have led to violent outbursts. On Tuesday, we saw one in Peoria, and then on Wednesday, there was another in Tucson. More protests are planned for this Saturday, and the hope from leaders on both sides is that these protests will remain peaceful.
And 12 News will bring you live coverage of those demonstrations during a special edition of Today in AZ, streaming on 12 Plus. That's starting at 9 a.m. All you have to do is download the 12 Plus app and you can watch for free.
We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Lori Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about October 2nd, 2019, as follows. Guilty.
Convicted murderer Lori Daybell was convicted again today, this time for conspiring to kill her niece's ex-husband. It took the jury about 30 minutes to find her guilty of conspiring to kill Brandon Boudreaux. Daybell represented herself and didn't present any evidence or call any witnesses. She'll be sentenced for both of her Arizona convictions in July. After that, she'll be extradited back to Idaho, where she'll spend the rest of her life in prison.
New at 10, a Lyft driver is accused of sexually assaulting and kidnapping one of his passengers. According to court records obtained by 12 News, 47-year-old Arthur Williams was driving for Lyft on January 19th and picked up a female passenger at Westgate. Once they reached her destination, Williams allegedly pinned the woman against his car, kissing and touching her without her consent. The woman says that it took several attempts to push Williams off of her and run away. His DNA was later found on the victim. Williams denies the allegations. Lyft tells us they permanently banned Williams and that they will assist law enforcement with the investigation.